Selam herkese. Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Melissa and I'm from UniPath, and today our guest is from Oxford University. I'm going to connect him real soon, but before that I would like to mention what UniPath is. UniPath is a virtual coach which aims to give free consultation to students who want to study abroad, and we are really excited for today's broadcast. So I think Ju Young is here. Yeah. Okay. I'm connecting him now.
Ooh.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing really well. This camera's a little too close. I'm feeling way too exposed right now, but hi.
Okay, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm guessing you're excited too.
Yeah, I am a little nervous, I can't lie.
Okay, so how is life with all this corona thing, you know?
I mean, wow, life has been quite chaotic. They kicked us out of the university for the third term. And so I ran away. I'm currently mülteciing here right now. I'm currently in Turkey running away from the awful British coronavirus. So yeah, we're chilling. Everything seems to be going okay. Not too bad, not too shabby.
Okay, I'm glad. Okay, so I know you since you're my friend, but can you tell us a bit about yourself? Who are you? What are you doing?
Yeah. So, hello everyone. My name is Ju Young, and I study history and politics right now at the University of Oxford. I actually lived in Turkey for 18 years. I lived in Turkey for the last 18 years of my life. I went to high school here, and I graduated from here. And then, well, I ended up in the UK.
Inspiring. Okay.
Inspiring.
So, I have some questions with me today, and just a little info. We're going to talk about many different things, from application process to, you know, your advices. So be prepared.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Oh boy.
So starting off with, how was your application process? It's Oxford, so I'm guessing it wasn't easy peasy lemon squeezy, but
yeah, it's a little complicated. So you better get your notebooks ready if you're gonna be taking notes. So the application process is a little complicated, I can't lie. But the first thing you have to do when you are applying to any United Kingdom university is to apply on a website called UCAS. So UCAS, UCAS. You have to make an account at UCAS in order to apply to any British university. And then what you do is you go in and you select whatever course you want to select, and then you fill out your personal statement and whatnot. And then there are a couple steps you need to take. If you're a Turkish student, you're going to be doing one of three things, I think. You're either going to be taking the IB, you're going to be taking the AP and the American curriculum, plus the SAT, or A-levels. So you'll be doing one of these three. Oxford has a couple of minimum requirements. I'll talk about them later. But you have to fulfill these minimum requirements in order for you to apply and have like a realistic chance of getting in. So then you send your application. What happens next? You will need to sign up for an admissions test with the British Council. So you send an email to the British Council saying, hi, I want to take this test. For example, I applied for history, so you have to take the history admissions test. If you want to take physics, you have to take the physics admissions test. If you want to apply for like one of the more, interesting degrees like PPE, politics, philosophy, economics, You have to take the TSA, the Thinking Skills Assessment, and you have to apply to all those different tests. And then you take the test. And then a couple days later, they'll tell you, oh, you did well in the test. Do you want to come to the UK for an interview? So, and then you go to the interview, and then you take the interview, and they're like, okay, if we like you, they'll take you. So there are a couple of important steps we need to take. But yeah, it's a little complicated. It's a little complicated,
Just
but it's
a little.
definitely doable. I did it. I did it, so can you. If you have any visa requirements, because you're Turkish,
notes.
then you can have a Skype one as well. Or Skype interview as well.
Okay, let me just write that down too. Okay, so we're going to dig deeper into those requirements, but let me ask you, what extracurricular activities did you do? I know you were interested in MUN since we met at one, but
yeah,
tell us about it.
So yeah, in high school, I did a couple of interesting things. My obviously the MUN club. I was a pretty big member of the MUN club. Let's say like I kind of helped create it with the head teacher, and we kind of like led it in our school. So that was really fun. Another thing that I did was I worked with the Kızılay. I worked with the Kızılay Toplum Merkezi in Sultanbeyli. So I speak a little bit of Arabic. And so I was helping there. I was helping out with the kids, kind of teaching English, just playing with the kids, teaching English to a lot of the volunteers, helping with just little work here and there, going on little gezis with the children. That was another really big thing I did in terms of extracurricular activities. So I had a couple of volunteering things that I was doing, obviously at the community center, MUN. Otherwise, I mean, I did a lot of like small random things. I'd say these two are the biggest ones.
Okay, yeah. I stalked your LinkedIn before the live.
Oh no!
So I saw the Kızılay thing there, and I was like, I hope he mentions that, So thank you for that one.
Yeah, and actually, can I add to this? Actually, just show up. Honestly, how I got into Kızılay was I showed up. I said, "Hi, can I help?" And they were like, "Sure." So the showing up is really important.
Take your notes, people. Take your notes.
Yeah.
So moving on with the next question. What was the focus of your essays? I mean, I don't know if you get this question a lot, but like for us, miserable high school students who want to study abroad, essays are a big problem. And everybody's like, okay, what do I talk about? Like, do I show off? Like, what do I mention? So this is a crisis for us. So please enlighten us a little bit about it.
Yeah. So when you're applying to the UK, your essay will mainly be very academic. It will be an academic essay. You're not going to be showing off about like the time you did, like, the time you helped cure cancer. Like, this is not your opportunity unless you're applying to like unless you're applying to biology. I'm not sure how that would be helpful. And so when you're applying to the United Kingdom, you want to write a very academic, subject-focused essay that shows your determination for what you want to study and why you want to study it. Now, for America, it's a little different, but at least for the UK, I was applying for history, so I talked about my love for history. I talked about how beautiful Turkey is, about the beauties of Istanbul and the architectural monuments here. I talked about the history of Korea and my personal experiences. For example, in 1980, there was a big event in Korea, and my father was a part of it. And it was called the Gwangju Massacre of 1980. And my dad was in Gwangju at the time, and he would tell me all these stories about what happened. But my mom's side, they heard what was on the news, and they would say all these other things. And I was like, wow, I'm listening to so many different perspectives and ideas. And like all of these, listening to a lot of people's perspectives, ideas, this really helped me as a person, develop my thinking. It helped me develop my thinking and develop truly my historical thinking skills. And so I wrote about it in my personal statement, things that led to my academic development and growth. And I also wrote about books that I had read. You want to include around 3 books in your UCAS personal statement because you only write 1 for all the UK universities you'll be applying for.
Oh,
you only write 1 personal statement for everyone else. So you write one essay and you kind of want to focus really deeply. You want to talk about the books you've read. If you have done extracurricular activities, make sure that they're related. Make sure that they're related to, you know, whatever you want to study. Like if you want to, I don't know, if you want to study physics, a Nobel Prize in literature will not be very helpful. Even if you have a Nobel Prize in literature, not going to be helpful. So make sure it's the Nobel Prize in physics if you're going to be applying for physics. make your extracurriculars very relevant. The general ratio that they say is 80% academic, 20% extracurricular, if you want to mention that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
80% academic. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, we have a question in the comments. Did you do any research projects in high school? I know you have one about entrepreneurship, if you want to mention that later on.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little later. But
yeah.
maybe, so I actually did we can talk about it now, actually, now that you've mentioned it. The Entrepreneurship Project actually happened after high school.
Oh.
I did an entrepreneurship project after high school, but it still counts. It still counts. So, and like, you know, gap years and whatnot. We'll talk about that later if you want to note that down. But
sure.
yeah, I mean, a research project. I mean, I didn't do what could be like an extended essay type thing. I didn't do one of those. I didn't do like an extended essay research project-y thing in my high school years. So if you haven't done one or don't plan on doing one, there is hope.
So I hope that was enough of an answer. Okay, moving on with my next question. Why did you choose Oxford, and what is your favorite thing about the university?
I mean, Oxford is a really beautiful, like, you know, I kind of just tried. I kind of just like tossed my hat in the ring to see if it would even work. Like nobody, like, I don't know, like when you're applying to Oxford, like it's really difficult to have like, okay, I'm definitely going to get in. Like it's difficult to like think like that when you're applying to Oxford. But well, I did, and when I went to the city, it was so beautiful for interviews. It was like the city was just really beautiful. I loved every aspect of the city, and all the tutors that we had an interview with, they were so nice, and the academic environment was just really amazing. One thing that makes Oxford very special is that you get to meet your tutors every week, at least once a week, for 1 hour, and you got to have an academic discussion with them. And I thought that is one of like this tutorial system at Oxford is like one of the best things. Like you get to learn from like one of the most like intelligent people on earth. Like they will tell you like the most learned people, like the most learned people in the universe about that topic, and they like spend an hour with you. This is amazing. It's just I thought that was just so amazing. So that's why I kind of chose Oxford. And then Oxford ended up choosing me.
I mean, now that you told about it, and I thought to myself, I would choose Oxford too, really.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything against it. By the way, I might have some connection issues, but like, I can still hear you. So if I react later, then you want me to, that's why. So excuse me for that, please. Okay,
yeah, that's fine.
So next question. As far as I know, you took AP classes instead of an IB thing. Why did you choose to take AP classes?
I mean, well, I can't say that I chose to do AP classes. My school did AP, so I did AP as well. Yeah, AP chose me, indeed. AP ended up choosing me. I went through the AP curriculum, which is, you know, like it's not like a diploma program like the IB, but I like the AP program because you get to choose what you want to study. Yeah. So I ended up choosing what I wanted to study here and there. Like, I don't know, I took like European history and like world history and calculus. I mean, I'm going to brag now. Literature, language, macro and microeconomics, comparative and U.S. government. Yes, I believe I took those. And calculus. I believe I took those APs. And Oxford requires 3 APs with a 5. And if you fulfill that requirement, you're Gucci.
I mean, I don't get to like have a say on that one because my school doesn't offer IB or AP. I'm just like left out and alone, but I'm still struggling, you know. We're all trying. Okay. So actually,
I can actually offer advice on that.
yeah.
If your school doesn't offer any of those, I have heard cases of people taking the SAT. The SAT is an exam you can study for on your own. So do it. Study for the SAT and the SAT subject test. If you study for the SAT subject test, get more than a 700 on 3 SAT subject tests, you have a fighting chance. So even if your school doesn't offer IB or AP, you have a chance.
Yeah, I'm going to take the SAT like at the end of this month, but we'll talk about it later. So
yeah, we'll talk about that later, yeah.
My next question is actually a follow-up. Can you talk a little bit about the AP process? You know, I mean, I don't know, you tell me, how was it?
I mean, I don't know, like it depends for everyone, but like basically the AP is kind of like a class you take. And the AP is a class you take, you study for it for like 1 year. And it's a difficult college level course that you take with your school. And then in May, you take an exam. So you can take it the moment you enter high school, if your school offers it. So it's really flexible on your part. You can do whatever you want with it.
Okay.
So that's kind of the AP. Was there anything else you wanted? Like, yeah. Okay,
no, I think it's fine. But there's a question. Did you take the SAT? Yeah, you did, but
I did.
Let's talk a little bit about your SAT.
Yeah, I did take the SAT. I mean, are we revealing scores or something? What are we...
as far as I remember, yours was great. But if you are comfortable with it, please do share. If you're not, it's up to you.
So in order to apply to Oxford, the minimum score you need to get is 1470 on the SAT out of a 1600. I got a 1520. So yes, I did take the SAT in order to get in. You can also take the ACT if you'd like. It's a similar test you can take.
Well, yeah, I think that was enough of an answer for that one.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, another one. What do you think made you stand out in your application process?
Okay, so when it comes to, I feel like there were 2 things. I received a decent score on my admissions test. In my admissions test to Oxford. So I took it actually in Istanbul, in Osman Bey. I took it in Osman Bey. There's like, in Osman Bey, they bring everyone and you take a test. And I took the HAT test and I did pretty well. I did pretty well. So if you're thinking, and in order to like make a big impression on your tutors, on the admissions tutors, definitely your admissions test would be very important. Another thing that might have stood out is, I think, another thing that like probably stood out is my interviews. My interviews went really well. My interviews went really well. So like if you're able to have a good interview, that will definitely have a really lasting impact. One more thing is, I mean, you might be wondering, why is this Korean here talking about Osman Bey and Turkey and whatnot? I mean, I live here. And I guess like that kind of made it really unique because I could go to Oxford and like research documents in Turkish, in Korean. I had brought a lot of skill sets to there, and I think that was probably a little helpful as well.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
You mentioned your interviews. Can you talk a little bit about them? I mean, I'm guessing it might be like a nervous thing for people who apply. So you might maybe want to talk about it and give some tips on what to say or what not to say.
So I'm a very nervous person. It might not show right now. It might, I don't know. But I'm a very nervous person. And like the interview, like imagine like 20 minutes to determine like where you go to university was an absolutely like, okay. It's absolutely nerve-wracking affair for me. Like to like, you know, be in this room for 20 minutes and like they will ask you a bunch of questions and that can maybe change your life or not. I don't know. And
maybe change your life.
Maybe change your life. I don't know. So for me, when I showed up, so 20 minutes before the interview, they took me to the special room. They took me to a special room and they gave me a bunch of documents to read. And they're like, read this. And they gave me 20 minutes. And then so I read it. And then they were like, okay, come with me. And then we went to the room of the tutor that will be teaching you. And they they said hi. They were really nice. They were extremely nice, very pleasant. And most interview experiences are very pleasant. So they're not trying to like get you, like, don't worry about that. They want to have a really nice academic discussion with you. and know how far you can think. They want to test your critical thinking abilities. They want to see how flexible you are as a person, and like how you can like how like you can like go against really tough and challenging academic situations. So that's kind of like an interview. And so the first 10 minutes, they ask you about the text. And when you say something, they'll like keep on prodding you. They'll be like, why did you say that? But why? But why? But why? But why? And it will make you feel awful. It will make you feel awful. And you might feel like, oh no, my interview was so bad. But no, if you were able to answer those questions on the spot, if you were able to think critically about the questions that they asked you, then you're on a good spot. And then in the later part of my interview, we talked about my personal statement, and there was a written work for Oxford as well. And I wrote about Tanzimat for that. I wrote about Tanzimat for my written work, and we talked about that. So that was kind of how my interviews went.
Well, I'm glad.
And so,
you said critical thinking and like, oh wait, can you hear me? Okay, this is actually a little weird question, but you said like if you can answer those questions on the spot, then you're good. And I thought that's actually like a crisis management thing too, maybe, because you're under pressure, and you know it is kind of like an important step for your life, you know. So maybe can you give any tips on crisis management? I don't know. It just
so on the spot. Yeah, so on the spot does not mean you have 5 seconds to answer, go now. In my interview, I personally said, can I have a moment to think about that? And they were really good about it. They were like, okay, think about it. And I thought about it for like a minute. I thought of it for like a minute, and it's okay to stop and pause and think about your answer. Think about your answer, make sure it makes sense, and just say like, and basically the idea is to just say what you're thinking. If you're able to communicate what's in your brilliant mind, if you're able to communicate what's in your mind, then you're good to go.
Okay, so that was a lovely advice.
You can stop and think. You can ask them like, hi, I didn't understand that as well. If the question doesn't make sense, you can be like, hi, can you rephrase that question for me? Yeah. You can also do that if you need more time. I may or may not have done that.
I did that in my IELTS test. I mean, I was really nervous and I was like, can I have a moment, please?
Yeah.
Okay. So it went well though. Anyways.
Yeah, it did well.
Okay, this next question is actually a question I'm also curious about. Does Oxford offer scholarships? Because like, I think you might know that £1 equal to what, 9.5 liras now? It's like
9.5, yes, 9.5.
I'm not commenting on that, but that's how it is.
Yeah, there's nothing to say about that. That's just facts. And so, yes, scholarship opportunities do exist for Turkish students. Unfortunately, not for Korean students like me. But for Turkish students, they do exist. Every year, Oxford offers the Ertegün Memorial Scholarship to one Turkish student. This scholarship is actually only open for Turkish students. And so the Ertegün Scholarship pays for everything.
Oh, cool.
And definitely if you get in, you're able to apply for that as well. So definitely look into that. There's also the Reach Oxford Scholarship, where they offer scholarships to Turkish students as well. So yes, there are some scholarships. Is it a little expensive? Is Oxford very expensive? Yes. If you are there ways to get scholarships? Also, yes. It's not technically impossible. It's most definitely possible.
Okay, it's not technically impossible. That was relieving.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You can. Yeah. We'll talk more about that later when it comes to funding, because England is, oh my god, so expensive. But yeah, I mean, scholarship opportunities. There are more scholarship opportunities for Turkish students than any other student. Let's say that.
Great, lovely. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your major or majors, should I say. Can you first tell us about your major, and then tell us if you had a chance to change your major, what else would you choose?
So that's actually very funny, because I applied for history and I actually switched to history and politics. So that's a nice segue into your question. So I applied for history, and And then I was like, I really like history. But then I saw my friends with history and politics, and they were doing all these really interesting majors, like all these interesting like things about like, politics and like comparing governments and like, and all these like theoretical political things. And I was really interested. So that's kind of what I wanted to do. And so I applied. And I actually had to have another interview for my transfer. So I had a politics transfer interview, and apparently that went well. So I ended up transferring to history and politics. So history and politics as a degree, yeah.
It's great that you actually transferred to what interests you more. I mean, because I think it's 4 years there too, so it would be a struggle for you. But like, if you're done with your answer, apart from these, what else would you choose if you were given the chance?
I mean, for me, if I wasn't so bad at math, if only I wasn't so bad at math, I would have applied for philosophy, politics, and economics, PPE, which is seen as like, like the big course at Oxford. The PPE is seen as this like very big course at Oxford. A lot of prime ministers took it. Oh. So I find like that one would be really interesting. I mean, I'm not a very mathy person, and so PPE, like there are lots of interesting courses. Like, what else is there? I mean, there's like law as well. I really might have wanted to apply for law. Law sounds very interesting as well. I might have applied for law. I don't know.
Well, say no more about law, because I mean, it actually crosses my mind these days too, and I'm trying to focus on one thing, so
yeah.
Gotta be careful there.
Yeah.
There's a question in the comments. Are there any lessons you have difficulty with? I mean,
yes.
Math.
Yes, I struggle with math and anything science, technology, engineering, or mathematics related. All things STEM, I struggle with very hard. Yes, I was surprised when I was forced to take a class in R. R is a programming language. R is a programming language. I take a class in that. That was not easy. And again, all Oxford courses are very difficult. Like, we cannot lie, like you have to write a 2,000-word essay every week, like for each class. And so you have to read a lot for them. You have to prepare a lot for them. And so I can't pretend to you that it's easy, but it's rewarding. The idea is for it to be difficult. That's the idea.
Yeah. Good luck to those who are planning on applying to Oxford. I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the last question I wrote down, but I have some questions on my mind, so we're going to talk a little bit more.
Okay.
Where would you want to work after you graduate from university? Or, like, in which field? Since I'm guessing you're a little bit, I don't know, confused maybe?
I mean, well, there's a lot I could do. I mean, I think about academia a lot and continuing on this academic route, doing a master's, PhD, maybe even becoming like a professor. I don't know. Inshallah. We will go that route. Another is like foreign service, diplomacy, like entering the Korean government's diplomatic ranks. That's also a big dream I have, perhaps.
That would be great.
Yeah. My mom said that she would never allow me to do politics, so I will not do politics. I will not do politics ever. Well, yeah. And I mean, there's also like a lot of students end up going to investment banking, or they even end up transferring to law, which is something I also think about. So career possibilities are everywhere. Career possibilities are everywhere.
Yeah, so you have like a wide range of things on your mind. I see.
Yeah,
I'm taking notes here, like, oh my God, so many things to write down. Okay, so now, by the way, a little announcement here to our viewers. If you have any questions, you can leave them as a comment down below, and I will make sure I read them out to you. But now, if I'm not wrong, you mentioned a gap year. Like, yeah. Give us details.
So I have a very complicated academic career up to now. So try not to follow me, but try not to follow the complicated part. So I graduated from high school in 2017. So, and I took a gap year back when there was no corona. Can you imagine? And so I spent the gap year like volunteering at Kızılay and learning Arabic. And so I spent a bit of time learning Arabic. You might see it in the background. A little bit of Arabic in the background. So I spent, and I actually went to Jordan as well. I went to Urdun, so Jordan, to learn a bit of Arabic.
I saw your Instagram posts.
Yeah, so that's been a while. So that's what I did during my gap year. And then I ended up actually going to Boğaziçi University for 1 semester. I actually went to Boğaziçi for 1 semester. And then, which was really nice, like go if you can. It's a beautiful place. And then I applied to Oxford. And then I got in, and so I dropped out. And I spent a half gap year. I spent like the next semester. I spent the next semester in Korea doing a little bit of working. I worked a little as a tutor. Got to make that money because Oxford's very expensive. And then I started school. So basically, I had a 1.5 year gap year.
I mean, yeah, should be fun,
It was very fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so nervous because, this year is the year we take the college entrance exam, and I'm imagining, if only I can have a gap year,
Yeah,
gap years. Sleep for a whole year,
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of stigma around gap years. People are like, don't take gap years this, gap years that. I want to tell people that, if you have a plan, if there's something that you want to do, take a gap year. Do it. Because this will never come back. This opportunity will never, ever come back. You will never have your age back. You don't have to go to college quickly. You can take a gap year if you want to. A lot of American schools, not too sure about British ones, but a lot of American schools, if you say, hi, I want to take a gap year, they'll be like, yay, go. Go take a gap year. Go away, take your gap year. Because it's a great opportunity to travel. It's a great opportunity, after Corona. It's a great opportunity to travel. It's a great opportunity to learn something new. It's a great opportunity to think, because high school is so busy and difficult. You have to think a lot. You can think a lot. You can live your life. You can live your life and enjoy life for a moment.
Yeah,
so
enjoy
I think
life.
Gap years are wonderful. Take a gap year.
Yeah. Okay. People, take your notes.
Yeah.
So there was a question in the comments. Did you have a college counselor?
I did. I did have a college counselor, and so she would help me with. So she would help me with applying. And I guess that's what all college counselors do.
So yeah, I'm guessing.
I mean, what else should I say? I did. Yes, I did have a college counselor.
Okay, so before I ask my last question, would you like to talk a little bit about your entrepreneurship project?
So yes. So a friend and I, we had a small entrepreneurship project we were running in Istanbul. So we were finding a couple of refugees and helping them start their own businesses. And so this project actually ran in 2017. And it was happening in 2017. It was very exciting. And basically one of our entrepreneurs is still has a business. So basically what we would do is we would help them find a business idea, kind of have an incubator kind of thing. And then we discuss it. We think about our value proposition and whatnot. If you ever do a business project, you know what I'm talking about. And then find our value proposition, our audience, and our buyers and sellers and whatnot. We think about all of these things. And then we kind of hit the streets and see, is there demand for what I want? We hit the streets, see if there's demand for what people want. And clearly there was. And then we'd give them a small loan that we had collected from here and there. So we did a little bit of fundraising, collected a micro loan that we gave to people. And yeah, that micro loan just helped people boost their businesses. And so that was a fantastic startup project that we worked on a while ago.
Yeah, definitely. I knew a little bit about it, but now I wanted you to mention it again on the live, because I think, it's really inspiring, because refugees, it's a really sensitive topic, and even more sensitive in Turkey with the whole conflict and stuff. And it's great to see people who actually value them and not only know and internalize that they're important and as equal as we are. You also like started a startup from scratch, and it aimed to help the refugees in like in a whole another level. You know, like I mean, I'm so glad because you're my friend, because like you're in my network, because I can learn so much from you. And I hope this is like the emotional moment in our broadcast now. I hope this live was also like I don't know, somehow helpful for people who watched it. Now I have my last question, and I'm saying last question because I mean I think everybody got their questions answered. Still, if you have questions, you can leave them down below. What would you advise to yourself in 9th grade?
9th grade. Wow, this is an unexpected question that has hit me really instantly. 9th grade, oh my goodness. I feel like, this is gonna sound so cliche, but I mean, do as much as you can, whatever that means to you. Like, I don't know what that means. Like, do as much as you can in terms of like, you can, I don't know, like for me, I wanted to pursue like an academic path. And so I did everything I wanted to do academically. Like, depending on whatever path you want to take, obviously nobody's forcing you to pick something, but do something. Like, do something. And like, if you want to like leave like a lasting memory with friends and hang out with your friends for some time, like do whatever you need to do. Then like basically don't like try like because when you graduate from high school, you kind of think, oh, could I have done this, could I have done that? And because high school is a moment that comes once and it never comes again. It never comes again. So I feel like in 9th grade, like if you want to follow a serious academic route, then like kind of like try and explore your options, keep an open mind, and try to find what you want to do. So if you're in 9th grade, like be on the lookout for what you want to do and do something and focus on something. And if you want to get really technical with college, start an extracurricular in 9th grade and follow it through and continue doing it for a consistent amount of time. That would be my advice for 9th graders. Obviously, everyone has a different path, so I can't give a unified academic advice.
So you're saying just do it, okay? Yeah,
do it.
Well,
do something.
That was my last question, and I'm asking once again, if you have any questions, leave it as a comment. I'm going to wait for a few seconds just in case somebody asks something. I don't want to skip them, you know. But yeah, let's get emotional again. Thank you so much for joining this live. I mean, it means a lot. And I mean, I hope you enjoyed this live as much as I did, because we're really working hard in UniPath. So yeah. Thanks to everybody.
I had so much fun. Thank you for having me.
We thank you. Okay, so I'm guessing there are no more questions. So this is a goodbye. We can talk later. Yeah, guys, go follow me if you want. Okay, so that concludes our live.
All right, then. I'll see y'all later.
Yeah, bye.
All right, bye.
Okay, so an announcement. Our next speaker is going to be from the University of Toronto, so stay tuned for that one. We'll post the information you want to see on our feed, and we'll post it on our stories too, so you will definitely not miss it. And without further ado, I'm saying goodbye to y'all, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this live. Have a good evening.